Okay, first and foremost, the shir is Le'iloi Nishmas David Lev ben Shmuel Zelig Ba'adman Alev Shalom. Yortzeh was a Vav Av, as well as a Refuah Shalema, Lahavdil, to Chaim David Yecheska Reuven ben Davrush Devora. I hope I spelled this right. That's Mr. David Schatz of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Thank you to the Shul Kehila Kedosha, and Chazaq, and Torah Anytime, and Klal Yisrael. Okay. Is there anyone in there? And if yes, can you hear me? I just don't. Okay. If you can't hear me, go home and watch online, apparently. Okay, there's one particular idea which I always found a little bit interesting, not always, but when I noticed it, I noticed to be a little bit interesting, and that is throughout not just the Kinnis, but actually the whole Sefer of Eicha. Eicha itself is seemingly a bit of a challenge. And it's a challenge of how could this be? Eicha Yoshvad Badad, how could it be? And if you look in Kinnis Zayin, it goes one after the next, where it speaks out the idea about Eicha Atzta Panecha, how is it that you rushed in your fury to go and destroy? And how did you go and give rebuke? And how is it that you planned your thoughts, even though we're so good? There's so many good things that are going on over here. How could you not remember the bris bein habesarim? Don't you realize what Klal Yisrael did? And how do you not remember about the kfitzas derech when the shvatim and the Gedolim are going through their way? How do you not remember all of Har Sinai and how they accepted the Torah? How could you do it? So the question that kind of struck me very strongly, and I actually challenge everyone to do this, whatever the word is, challenge or ask, I think too, to look into and understand what are the keynotes saying, what exactly is the point to them, what are we trying to accomplish by them. And there's a lot of Hebrew that's a lot of very hard to understand, but look at the English and try to understand what exactly is going on. So this one is, we're saying, how Hashem could you have done this? I mean, look at all the good. So firstly, if you'd ask me straight up, I'll just quote a title from a book of Kaplan, Vari Kaplan, If You Were God. I'm using that. So if I was God, and someone asked me, how could you do that? What's the answer? The answer is very pashut. What? Well, I'm God. But the question of how is a question of why. It's a question of what's going on. I mean, how could you do it? What's the answer? Pashut. I mean, you didn't follow the Torah. You didn't do what you're supposed to do. We had sinas chinam. We had all the different slew of answers as per why we're in Golus right now. So what exactly is your question? That's number one. The answer is pashut. We know the answer. Number two, are we really challenging Hashem? How do we have the audacity to go out and to challenge HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that which He decides to do? The Gemara tells us that if somebody goes through a challenging time, that we're meant to be mekabel be'ava. Seemingly understood that if you're not mekabel be'ava, then it doesn't fulfill its mission. There's Yisurin, and there's a reason why we have Yisurin. There's a reason why we go through challenges. It could be a kapara. A person's not mekabel ba'ava, so then it's possible that it's actually not a kapara. So then the famous question of why do bad things happen, etc., the answer is for nothing. Well, there was a reason, but if you're not mekabel it, be'ava, then it's for nothing. Vaiter b'simcha. The Gemara tells us famously, also in Brachos, much later on. First I'm telling you it's in Daf Hey, but much later on, the Gemara says in Daf Nun Dalet, I believe it is. I didn't look recently, but it goes and says that Kishem shemavarchan ala tov, kach mavarchan ala ra, right? Just like maybe it's samach. Yeah, no, I think it's both. Nun dal and samach omer beis. I think it's the Mishnah and then the Gemara. Anyway, so it goes to just like when good things happen, so too when bad things happen. But it's not true. There's a different bracha. But the Gemara itself says, what does it mean? B'simcha. Who is saying Baruch Daina Emes B'Simcha? So the purpose of this discussion is not to get into what Simcha is, but if we understood what Simcha was, then maybe we wouldn't have the same question. Simcha doesn't mean necessarily that a person is smiling and laughing. Let's be clear. Simcha is an understanding that this is the way that it's meant to be. So a person who goes and experiences something challenging, we say Baruch Daina Emes. By the way, incidentally, it doesn't have to mean death. It's usually, that's just the end of it all. And the concept of Baruch Atov HaMeitiv doesn't have to be on birth, although we said that also. Boy, girl, but say Baruch Atov HaMeitiv. Where do we see in halacha that a person might say Baruch Atov HaMeitiv even every week? Where do we find it? Wine. Someone's going in there at the Shabbos table and they're drinking wine, and someone brings a nicer wine, a more expensive chashuv wine. You see the bracha b'shem u'malchus Atov HaMeitiv. And what does it mean, Baruch Daina Emes? Baruch Daina Emes means you experience something which is not a positive thing. You didn't get the job. Baruch Daina Emes. It doesn't have to just be on death. Baruch Daina Emes. But it's meant to be said b'simcha. So we have two different things. We have be'ava, we have b'simcha. So now we have, at least, I mean, not just Kinazayim, but Kinazayim just says it over and over. Where it goes and says, Eicha, how could it be you did this? And you didn't remember all the good things. How could you do this? And you didn't remember. Kinazayim, right? So the question here is, hold on 1 second. We just finished off the Gemara saying that we have to go Mikabel, Ba'ava, and B'simcha. And here we are, challenging the Eibishter. Who do you think you are? You're going to go challenge HaKadosh Baruch Hu's will and his direction? Like, how could a person, what's going on over here? Now, I'll tell you, I didn't think about this question until mamish last night when I was looking over the things to prepare what I'm going to say. I've been through a couple Tisha B'Avs, and I've said these words, and I said it in English. I say almost everything in English. I do some of them in Hebrew, if like, it says Hashem. But other than that, I'm going straight up English because I have no idea what these words mean. If you do, I'm very happy for you. But I don't, so I'm doing it in English. I never picked up on this question where we're challenging Hashem. I'll even bring it a little bit more home. There was a terrible tragedy that happened in Kochav Yaakov less than 2 months ago, the Zahavi family, where Adina Zahavi lost her life while saving her children. And I was by the Shloshim, and I know that also by the Levaya, her husband, spoke out the idea of, he said the following words, he said, I don't challenge Hashem, I don't question Hashem. I'm a broken man, my wife passed away, my wife is no longer here, but I'm not, I don't question, I'm not challenging, which I think is a huge, huge statement. It's one thing a person says it by the Levaya, right, where everything is like very fast, even by Shiva. But Shloshim, where you have time to think about it, contemplate it, think it through, and still say that sentence, reminiscent of Avram Avinu when he's being sent, Kachnas Binchas Yechidcha Sherafta, to go take Yitzchak and go bring him, Va'aleu Sham, bring him up as an Ola. And as far as he understood, that means to go and kill his own son. And what happens? How long does it take till it happens? A few days. He says, Amen. He's so he's so in love. Hashem says, I'm going to do it. I'm in. I'll do it. I am so in. I'm ready. Let's go. No. Wait a day. Okay. Travels, where am I going? Just go. Okay, so he's traveling. Travels a day. He travels 2 days. Travels 3 days. You don't think that we would start rethinking this a little bit? Okay, maybe I was too quick. And that, you know, we always want to be helpful. So someone says, "Can you help me with something?" Like, "I'll help," and then you're like, "Wait a minute, why did I say that?" That entails actually doing something. So now Avram Avinu, but he stayed with it, stayed strong. Ad kedei kach, at the very end of the whole sugya over there, what happens? Vayomer malach Hashem, Avram hineni. Don't send your hand forth to let, and don't do anything to him. Why? What's the lashon? What's the double? Why? And don't do anything to him. What does that mean? Just say, don't do anything. Don't send forth your hand to shecht your kid. Why did you say don't do anything? The Medrash fills in the details. Because what did Avram say? When the Baal comes in, he says, don't kill your son. He goes, but can I cut him? Can I at least wound him? So that sounds a little strange and a little off. But if we understood, it would be us, assuming we loved our children. And that is that we were told, go kill your son, assuming we can hold up to such a challenge. And then Hashem says, you know what, don't do it. I imagine our response would be like, whew, that was close. Thank you, Hashem. I don't have to do it. Avram's response is very different. Al tishlach yadcha lanar, don't do it. When you say it, you mean don't do anything, or do you mean just don't kill him? Is there something else you wanted me to do? In other words, I'm here to whatever it is that you want me to be doing, I'll do. He doesn't go to the opposite and give up. He's like, he's still with it. Avraham Avinu, straight up, no problem. Over a few days of thinking about it and processing it and still willing to go through with it, after 30 days of thinking about it, at the shloshim, he should say, I have no questions. I have no challenges. I don't know what the answer is. I don't understand what you did. I don't get it. I'm in pain, but I don't challenge you. Rav Eitan Feiner, for those who are familiar, married for a year with no children, and then 5 years with no children, and then a decade, 10 years, no children. And then finally, after 13 years, he has a baby. And unfortunately, the baby's born with an issue. Today, his son, Avram Yeshaya, I don't know, forgive me, I don't know, maybe 17, 18 years old, wheelchair, needing support constantly. And he came to speak in Eish. He used to be a Rebbe in Eish HaTorah. He came to speak in Eish HaTorah. And he got up and he said, my wife and I have no tightness on the Eibishter. We have no challenges. It's, it's a hard situation, but we accept whatever is that Hashem knows much more than we do. Powerful idea. And that the Gemara tells us we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be on such a level. And then Pitam, we come on Eicha, we're like, how could you, Hashem? Don't you see the good? How could you, Hashem? Don't you understand that what we did, Har Sinai and all that jazz, back and forth. So how do we understand the challenge that's going on? How does this make any sense? So perhaps we could say the following. I was last night speaking with a friend of mine, California, Vishal Majeski, and Stam, we were talking about Tisha B'Av. And he shared with me the following idea, which wasn't, I'm not sure why he shared it with me. I think because he was doing it, but it wasn't something that I asked or whatever. But I think it's a beautiful answer to our question here. The pasuk is found in Malachim Aleph, Yod Tes Tes Vav Tes Zayin, 1916. That we know that Eliyahu Navi was the Navi. And the Navi's job, let's be clear about what the job of the Navi is. The job of the Navi is that, by the way, is this supposed to be moving? It's not moving at all. I don't know if it's supposed to be moving or not. Look at the numbers. Start over? Should I start from the beginning? Thank you all for coming. The job of the Navi. So now you have to remember it's not that anymore, it's something else. So the job of the Navi is what? What's the purpose of the job of the Navi? The job of the Navi is that, at least a Navi of Klai, there could be other people that are Naviim, but they're not a Navi. In other words, what's the difference between a Navi and a Navi? Whether you're given the job to tell it over, the Gemara Megillah speaks out. I'm better than them, they're better than me. Chanan, Mishal, Bezariah, Daniel. Anyway, so the job of the Navi is that Hashem comes and tells the Navi to tell Klal Yisrael that you messed up, you're messing up, you got to do better. All right, that's basically the job. Just to sum up all of Navi in a nutshell. Navi comes and says, Klal Yisrael, you're messing up. Then they say, okay. And they say, you better shape up or else. And they say, whatever. And then they get the what else. And they say, we're so sorry. Can you forgive us? And Hashem says, all right, I forgive you. Reset. I just saved you a couple of years. That's Navi. So the job of the Navi is to go ahead and to speak out to Klal Yisrael the things that they're doing wrong. And to point that out and to wake up and do something good. And we find something interesting. Eliyahu Navi loses his job as Navi. Anyone who ever made a bris will probably be familiar with this on some level, because this is classic bris Torah. Eliyahu Navi, Pinchas. Eliyahu comes to every bris. Where does that come from? How come? What happened? Pasuk says Timshoch lanavi tachtecha. I got to get a new navi now. Eliyahu Navi is telling Hashem the things that Klal Yisrael are doing that are not okay. And Hashem says, I got to get someone new. Says Rashi, Me'acher she'ata melamid kategoria al banai efshi b'nevuascha. Since you are now speaking in a prosecutive manner about my people, I don't want your nevu anymore. Ribono Shalom, what do you want from me? Who say, I'm the Navi, this is my job. Like my job is to go ahead and to give rebuke and to speak about when they're doing something wrong. Hashem basically tells them that's not your job. Your job is to say what I tell you to them. And then you know what your job is? To come to me and do what? Your job is to tell them what they're doing wrong and to come to me and tell me what they're doing right. Your job as a Navi is to tell me what they're doing right. Where do we find this? We find this by the Egel Azav. The Ribono Shalom says about Klal Yisrael, it's over. Egel Azav, we're mom is still at our Sinai. Imi babayis, like leave and then do it. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing right now? Right in front of me? So he says to Moshe Rabbeinu, that's it. We're going to finish him off. Let's reset. Moshe, let go of me and let me go ahead and destroy the Jewish people. I'm going to start over. Now, if you would be the Navi, you're Moshe Rabbeinu, and Hashem says, just leave me alone, that's what we're going to do. We're going to destroy them and then we'll start over. What would you do as the Navi Hashem? Okay, Hashem, all right, you're the Navi, you're Hashem, you know. No, Hashem, I will not argue with you on what you just said. Moshe Rabbeinu starts to argue. Where did Moshe get the audacity to argue with Hashem? And to challenge Hashem? I mean, we know Hashem's right. I think we could all agree on that. Hashem is correct. So where would Moshe Rabbeinu get the audacity to come and argue with Hashem? Well, guess where Moshe Rabbeinu got it from? He got it from Hashem. Because Hashem dropped a big hint. He said to him, Moshe, let go of me. Let me destroy them and we'll start over. So Moshe is standing there thinking, let go of me? What am I holding on to you? What am I like holding you back? You know, the person gets into argument with someone, they go, hold me back, you know, hold me back. And everyone's like, bro, we're not holding you back. You're not going to do anything anyway, right? Hashem essentially says to Moshe Rabbeinu, let go of me. Let me at him. Moshe's like, let go of you? I wasn't holding on to you. What are you talking about? And Hashem goes, Moshe, let go. Leave me alone. Don't stop me. Which is basically hint, Moshe, stop me. Fight. So Moshe's like, don't do it. And not only that, Hashem, if you do it, get rid of me also. I don't want nothing to do with this. Get rid of me also. You're getting rid of Klal Yisrael, get rid of me too. Pretty powerful. Moshe Rabbeinu was fighting for Klal Yisrael. He's fighting for Klal Yisrael. Who are you fighting against? Hashem himself. What are we, crazy, fighting against Hashem? It says, not if Hashem wants us to do it. The job of the Navi is to give the Musar to Klal Yisrael that Hashem wants, but then to go back to Hashem and say, Hashem, no, they're really good. They're really good. Let's find that. Let's find the good. Possibly one of the most famous pieces in Likutei Moharan is the Nekuda Tova, to find the good piece, the good part, the small point. To quote Yosef Karduner, quoting the Likutei Moharan, "Va'afilu murasha gamor, tzarich l'chapes v'limtzo lo eze me'at tov, v'dan oto l'kav zchut." To try to find something which is really good. And he goes further to say we have to do it for ourselves also. Sometimes we feel we messed up, we're bad, there's nothing good. You gotta look deep, There's something good. The Nakuda, that part which is, in the word of the Sfas Emes, the Sfas Emes calls it the jug of oil by Hanukkah. Others call it the Pintel Yid. Untouched, totally pure, so precious, so clean. You gotta look and you gotta find it. Where else do we find someone who does that? Or more accurately, someone who will do it. The Gemara in Shabbos speaks out, well, before we get to the Gemara in Shabbos, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky asks a question, and he speaks out that all the Avos were challenged in their particular midah. So you have Avram Avinu, his midah was the midah of Chesed. Chesed LaAvram. So what's the biggest test Avram Avinu got? According to most Rishonim, Akedas Yitzchak. Akedas Yitzchak is the opposite. It's literally the opposite of Chesed. Go and kill your own son. Hashem challenges Avram and says, are you willing to go ahead and serve me? Even in an area which is the literal opposite of your existence. And Avram passed the test, I'm in. Clearly not an easy thing, but I'm in. We'll skip Yitzchak, go to Yaakov. Yaakov is known as Emes Yaakov, the man of truth. Yet he has to go ahead and say, Anochi Esav b'chorecha, in outright, straight up, seemingly non-truth. So says his mother, who's a Neviah, tell him to do something. What do you mean? But that's not true. Okay, you're willing to do it. Do you tell the truth because I want you to do it, says Hashem, or do you tell the truth because you're just on a truth streak? No, he says, I tell the truth because that's what you want from me. If you want me to say something seems not like that, whatever you want, Eibishter. Yitzchak. What's Yitzchak's midah? Anyone? Gvura. Din. Pachad Yitzchak. Like we said, Baruch Atov Amitis, Baruch Dayan Emes. Baruch Dayan Emes means you're the truthful judge. What you say is true, and that's it. The Gemara in Shabbos says that there's going to be a judgment on Klal Yisrael in the future. At the end of days, there's going to be a judgment against us, and we're going to lose. And right before the gavel hits, right before it's over, Yitzchak comes busting through the doors and says, hold on 1 second, Your Honor. Your Majesty, I have what to say. So we all know what Yitzchak's going to say. He's Din, he's Gvura. Say, Your Honor, Eibishter, Tati, Father, Hashem, just wanted to let you know, you're right. Have a great day. That's what you would expect. Yitzchak's Din and Gevura. What was his reaction? Yitzchak's reaction is, hold on 1 second. Can we just do a little math? How long does a person live? Shivim shana. Vim begevura shmonim shana. Shbizochet tamor. But how long does a person live? 70 years. Hashem, what are you going to do? You're going to judge the Jewish people for 70 years? I don't think that's okay. Because we know that a third of their life, 8 hours a day, they're sleeping. You can't hold them responsible for sleeping. So really it's like 40 some odd years, 43 and a third years. And of those 40 years, they're eating, they're using the bathroom, they're walking, they're in Dvarim Shorishus, they're doing things that are fine to do. So how much is left already? They're learning Torah, they're doing mitzvahs. So you want to say that there's I don't remember the exact number, 10 years, there's not 20 years left? 10, you take 10, I take Chetzi Alai, Chetzi Alechem, let's call it a day. Let him off the hook. Says Amos Yaakov, that's the test Yitzchak is going to have, and that's what Yitzchak's going to do. But whatever happened to the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, what happened to the din? The answer is, this is what Hashem wants. Fight for Klal Yisrael. The way that I heard it, it may have been in Mavisol Salanter. If it's not, forgive me, and whoever it is, that when it comes to our own challenges in life, we're meant to be working on ourselves to get to a level where we're mekabel, ba'ahava, b'simcha, whatever it is, you got it, Hashem. But when it comes to other people's challenges in life, we're meant to question and ask and challenge. By our own life, bal bitachon, by someone else, be a kofar. You don't go to someone who's in mourning and say, Gamzu l'tova. Kol ma davar rachmanu l'tav. You don't do such a thing. What do? We say, How could this happen? I don't know. How could it be? Eicha. We go to a shiv house, we go to a levaya, and we say, Eicha. When it's ourselves, what does the person who's going through that challenge do? They say, Baruch Tayna Emes, b'shem. But for someone else, Eicha. Kinazayin comes and says, Eicha. How could it be? How could you rush and destroy them, give them over to Edom? How could you not remember the Bris Bein B'Sarim? You chose those who you tested. How could it be that you can give them over to be destroyed and not remember all of their gatherings? How could you abandon the Batei Mikdashim and not remember Har Sinai? Uvechein yolalnu zechar Hashem me'al yolanu. Therefore we go out and we cry out and we moan and we ask and we say, Zechar me'al yolanu. Remember. Hashem, remember what happened to us. More importantly, remember who we were. Let's look for the good things. When Eliyahu, a Navi, goes and speaks negative about the Am Yisrael, Hashem says, you're done. Get me another Navi. How does that apply to us now? It applies to us now in terms of every one of us has to be this, not kategor, but sanegor, a defendant. See, what can I do to help someone and look at them in another light? How can I be danlem l'kav zchus? Va'afilu mu rasha gamor. Can I find something which is good? How could you do that, Hashem? Look at the good things that they had. That's how we can, so to speak, challenge Hashem here, because it's not for us. I'm speaking about Klal Yisrael. I'm talking about somebody else. And to make that real, to take it home for us, to take a look and see, try to find the good in people, try to judge them favorably. There's a Maisa, which I think I remember seeing in two places, Orchos Sadikim, and in Chovas HaLevavos, I think. It says about Chacham Echad that was walking with his Talmidim, and they came across a dead donkey, a dead carcass, and the Talmidim said, what a disgusting smell that's coming from the donkey. And the Talmidim, and that's what Talmidim said, and the rabbi said, the Chacham said, yes, but look how white its teeth are. I said this in a class maybe 15 years ago. My mother was there. She goes, what kind of ridiculous story did you just tell it? A beautiful lesson, white teeth and a dead donkey. What are you doing? I said, you're right. But the question is, what are we looking at? Are we looking at what's obvious in front of us and smelly and big and disgusting? Or are we looking a little deeper? Try to find that small, beautiful, white, pristine, clean, pure, pinta l'yid that's there. And it doesn't exonerate. It doesn't mean everyone that they're okay, their behavior is fine. But it does mean the way in which we approach them is going to be very different. And sometimes you look at a person and you think they're a certain way. I'm going to judge them favorably. Come on, let's be real here. This person's not a good person. This person's not, you know what I'm saying? What does not a good person mean? So they're not like me, you know what I'm saying? Like Rav Leff would often speak out. I heard him say many times, Rabbi Zev Leff said, what does the word frum mean? Frum, F-R-U-M. The you is you. You. You are the you. Then there's everyone on one side is FR, everyone on the other side is M. Everyone on one side is fanatically religious, everyone on the other side is M, is modern. But you're perfect. That's frum. The problem is when you shift, what happens when you become more modern, Chalila, or you become more frum? Oh, then everyone else shifts with you. Okay, that guy is now modern, that guy is fanatically religious. And it was not like us. Or maybe we can work in the Torah itself. I mean, there's certain people that behave in ways that are not okay. And they're considered maybe halachically a Rasha. But we have to take a little deeper look at that. Is that true? Are they really called a Rasha? Are they given tochacha? Did they understand what was told to them? Did they really get it? And if not, then they're not called a Rasha. Share with you an amazing Chazaq Ish. Amazing. I didn't look at this recently, but I think it's on Daf Tes Vav in Erchin. The Gemara there is one of the great sages is lamenting. There's no one nowadays who knows how to accept tochacha. So responds one of the other Tanaim, I believe it was, and says, what do you mean no one knows how to accept it? There's no one today who knows how to give it. Says the Chazaq Ish, based off this Gemara, a chumrah, get ready, a chumrah in Hilchos Adam, ben Adam l'chaveiro. There is a chiyuv to love every Jew, even if they are a Rasha. Says the Chazaq Ish, or the Chazaq Ishniks, whatever you do with your matzahs, also recognize the fact you have a chiyuv to love a Rasha. What shaykhis? To hate a Rasha! Says the Chazaq Ish, but look at the Gemara. That's only someone who was given tochacha, and they rejected it anyway. But we don't have anyone who knows how to give tochacha anymore. So they never got a chance to have been doing tshuva from the tochacha because there was no tochacha. Therefore, they're not in the category of Rasha, and you have to love them. Yeah, crazy. That's unbelievable. You look at someone, you think they're such a Rasha, if you really knew who they were. There's some people, maybe they're not being shomer Torah mitzvahs. They're not really in the game and doing everything we expect them to be doing. But maybe they're bigger than you think. This past year, I went down with Rav Yitzchak Berkowitz, Hashiva Veisha Torah, the Rosh of JK. There was a mission that they went. A lot of Eisha Torah people, Makarvim from around the world, came to Eretz Yisrael, and they went to different places with Rav Berkowitz. Went to the Nova Festival, and they went to, not the festival, but to the location. They went to Sderot, and done a bunch of places. And I went with them. And the reason I went, and I'm going to be very clear, I'm incredibly anti people doing this. I think watching the videos and seeing all the catastrophes are just bad for your soul. I don't understand the to'elis. I think the world should see it. I think it's important for the world to understand what's going on, even though it's kind of irrelevant because the world's upside down, so it kind of doesn't really matter anymore. But looking at these things is not good for us. So why did I go? Because first of all, when you go to the Nova, there's nothing really there. It's just a field. Some memorials, basically. But the reason I went is because I wanted to hear what Rav Berkowitz was going to say. I wanted to hear how he's going to respond to it there. In any event, when we were there by Nova, there was a mother of one of the Chatufim there. There was a mother, and there was another woman there. It sounded a lot better if I knew the names. I forgot the names. There was another woman there, powerhouse Mekareves, Israeli woman, who I think already for over 10 years has been going to different places, different kibbutzim and shtachim, different places, and trying to be Mekarev people, bring closer to Avinu Shebashamayim. And when we were by Nova, this Mekareves was there, and this mother. The Mekareves told a story about, there's a lot of historians that happened since October 7th. A lot of people are trying to come closer to their roots, get closer to the Yiddishkeit. And this Mikarevis got a phone call from a mother of a chatufa, of a girl who was kidnapped. And she got a phone call. She said, my name is so-and-so. I'm not religious. I don't even know how to do this, but I want to keep Shabbos. Can you help me? Can you help me keep Shabbos? So let's just pause the story right now. Totally secular, never done Shabbos in her life. How would we look at this woman before that? She's off, she's not connected. Not going to defend her and look at her positives. Terrible. She's going through a tragedy, a terrible, terrible tragedy. And one of the thoughts she has is, let me keep Shabbos. That means that there's something deeper than maybe we expected. So she says, I want to keep Shabbos, can you help me? It's around 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday afternoon. The Mikarevis, she has nothing to give her. But this woman says, I don't know how to keep it, but I'm willing to do the whole thing. What do I have to do? What do I need? Can you help me? She says, of course. You have what I need? I have everything you need. Don't worry, I'll come over, I'll bring you everything. She had nothing. But she said, I have everything. She gets up the phone, she starts calling around. This friend make challahs, this one make cake, this one make cholent, this one make tafina or chamin. Just make sure we have everything, one of everything. She calls up a place, I need platas, I need kumkum, I need tablecloths, I need everything. She calls up an organization that has shaykhs to doing this. What do you have? What do you need? I need everything, just give me everything. And then she calls up the mother of the kidnapped boy who we met at the actual Nova. The two of them were there, she told the story. She said, I need you to come with me because you have a son who's kidnapped. She has a daughter who's kidnapped. You'll be able to relate to her. Who am I? Just a stranger coming in. She comes with her. And they go to this woman's house and they bring the plata and the kumkum and the cutlery and the tablecloth and the challah and the soup and the cholent and the fish and the Moroccan fish and the gefilte fish and whatever it is. And the cake and the cookies and everything. Show her how to use the plata and the urn, everything. She's no words. She's overwhelmed. Motzei Shabbos, this Bikarevis sees on the news that this woman's daughter, who is held in captivity, the IDF found her body. She was killed. They found her body. Just try to put yourself in the place of this Mikarevis. What do you do now? Can you imagine? This woman said, let me try this spirituality thing. And as soon as she tries it, she finds out and hears her daughter's dead. I don't know what you think the reaction is going to be, but I'd be very nervous for the reaction to be, forget this whole thing, it's not real, there's nothing, what is this, ridiculous. So she is very nervous. She knows she has to go be Menachem Avil. She pulls herself, she calls her new friend, the mother of the Chatuf, and says, I need you to come with me. She says, okay, and they go. When they walk into the Shiva, not knowing what to expect, the mother sees them. Their hearts are pounding like, I don't know how this is going to end. She stands up and starts walking towards them. They don't know what to do, so they embrace, they give her a hug. And then she goes, can't believe it. I've never kept Shabbos in my life. I keep Shabbos up for the first time ever. And because of that, I was zoche to have my daughter go to a Kever Yisrael. Eize zechut. What a merit. I can't even believe it. Tell me something you see. A secular woman walking down the street. A secular man walking down the street. You think that's what's going through their mind? What a schus that my daughter who was murdered, but because of the merit of Shabbos, I get to bury her. Va'afilu amura shagamor. You got to look a little deeper. There's something good here. We have no idea who these people are. We don't know what people have been through. Everyone here right now is going through something. Everybody. Health, relationship, children, whatever it may be. Shidduchim, finance. If only I would have known they're going through that, I would have dealt with them a little differently. Well, let me let you in on a secret. Everybody's going through something all the time. We've got to be looking for the positive. With us, we can be tzaddikim, have bitachon, and trust in Hashem, be mekabel, be'ava, be mekabel, be'ratzon, we're in, be'simcha. But for someone else to be mekabel, for someone else, their challenges and their struggles, no, we're meant to be a kofar. We're meant to say, Eicha, how could this be? Come on, Hashem, find the good. I'll tell you one more ma'aseh, then we'll wrap it up with an idea. I heard the story about Rav Meir Goldvicht. Meir Goldvicht was a yeshiva in America. It comes to Eretz Yisrael relatively often, I think maybe once a month even. And although he lives in Chutz La'aretz, he's Israeli. So, Mama Lashon is Hebrew. He comes here once a month and goes to different communities and he shares Divrei Torah for the whole Shabbos. He'll arrive Friday and leave Motzei Shabbos. Comes just to with Chazaq. I think it's every month. It used to be every month. And he'll speak like 16 times. Go from shul to school to shul to shul to shir to this to whatever. I believe it was in Arad. And the Rav Ha'ir was taking him around in his car, showing him, this is our school, this is our mikvah, this is our library, this is the Beis Medrash, this is the shuls, this is whatever. And it's Erev Shabbos. They're going around, they're making their way back to the Rav's home. As they're making their way back to the Rav's home, they get pulled over by the police. They know they did nothing wrong. A little strange, trying to figure out what's going on. And the Rav Ha'ir is like, they know my car. I don't know what's going on over here. Secular Israeli woman who is dressed the part, whatever that means. By your mind, she's dressed the part. She's making her way towards the car. He opens the door. He says, is there a problem? She says, Kvod Rav, Honorable Rabbi, I noticed your car. And it's almost Shabbat. I have a question in Hilchot Nida, and I need to know before Shkia. Can you tell me if this is okay or not okay? If Goldus watches me, Ka'amcha Yisrael. You look at this person, you think they're totally off. And they pull over the Rav to ask a Shaila in Hilchos Nida. Who would have thought such a thing? You never know who someone is. You have to be looking to judge people in a positive way. Find the good. And that's perhaps why we could say that this kinnah is, how could you? Because our job is to turn to the Ribono Shalom and say, Hashem, how could you do this? What happens to us? Mekabel. Happens to someone else? How could you, Hashem? Remember the good, look for the good, look for the good, look for the good. Hashem, you're the one who said that Eliyahu Navi can't be a Navi, he can't even be the Navi of Klal Yisrael because of the behavior like this. Hashem, come on, let's look for the good over here. What's going on? There are many, many more ma'asim to go through this type of idea. Maybe if it's not just that, but people are going through hard things. And let's take a look and see. Perhaps there's something that we're missing. And I saw a message going around that said as follows. The Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. If you see that there's a fellow Jew who's putting on his tefillin right by mincha, bro, it's like right by sunset. Now you're putting on your tefillin. And he's even wearing Crocs. He doesn't greet you. He doesn't even smile at you. The guy didn't learn the whole day. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's Tisha B'Av for him. Maybe he's going through a chorban. Maybe he didn't eat the whole day. Maybe if you look at it like that, it would change the entirety of what we're going through right now. I'll end with this idea. The Gemara says, Ein ben David, we're not getting a Mashiach. Until we have a door that's kulo zaka or kulo chayav. We're either totally zaka, we're totally pure, or we're totally chayav, we're in the worst of the worst. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but this isn't looking too good. Because that's the battle of Am Yisrael has always been, we got people doing this, people doing that, the good, the bad, the ugly. How are we going to get this? However, maybe if we would take this idea of Kinazayin of Eicha and looking for the positive, recognizing the job of the Navi is to play this double-edged sword. I'm not going to bring the Nevuah and then go back to Hashem and say, Hashem, destroy me with them. Maybe if we were to go ahead and start looking at people and dan the kaf schos, if we collectively were dan the kaf schos, we would have a door that's kulo zakai. Because we're looking at everyone's schos. So how do we get out of this? Let's try to be like we understood Yitzchak Avinu will be. Moshe Rabbeinu was. The rebuke that Eliyahu Navi got. For ourselves, we mekabel. But for someone else, we have to be crying to Shamayim, how could you do this to them? Let's find the good. Recognize the idea that there are some people that may look like Rishayim, but really are tzaddikim. Powerful, powerful idea. Not the easiest thing. It's a big challenge. The quote of Hutner says the key to living a happy life is knowing how to done the kafschos. Judge people positively. Our feelings all coming from a negative interaction of sorts. Judge it in a positive light. Your life will be better. Look at other people in that light. The life will also be better. In turn, ours will be as well. Maybe by Be'ez Hashem, only with Hashem's help. If you take just a little bit of time to think, the next time we're feeling a negativity towards somebody, just stop and process. Could it be that it's a Tisha B'Av for them? And that's why they're behaving how they're behaving. And or maybe they're a lot better than we think. And if we would realize who they were, we wouldn't look at them the same way. That doesn't mean everything's okay and good, but it does mean that our gisha, our approach should be very different. That will bring together this achdus, a real unity, a real love, a real avos Yisrael. Be'ez Hashem, the schos of that, we'll be able to have the dor shekul zakai, and then we should be zocha to Be'ez Hashem to Mashiach Meher B'Meinu. Amen.